Hello and welcome to Rainy Day Crafting. Okay, another card. Day 3 of my challenge. Okay, so I'm not going to keep saying the days just in case I end up, well, hopefully I won't miss a day. But my challenge is to actually release a card every day for the whole of November, but on the Christmas theme. Okay, because it's not far around the corner. I couldn't bring myself to start making cards and things until Christmassy time. Or at least November anyway. So right, what I'm going to use, first of all, obviously you can do any shape die you wish. These dies, there's 4 and they come from Craft Stash. I really do like Craft Stash very much. They often have some wonderful deals on. But anyway, there's only 4 in the set, but they are wonky stitch collection. Okay, so basically when you cut it out, there's like this little wonky design with it, but any die, any shape will do. So if you haven't got this shape, please don't feel you have to rush out and buy at all. But you can do squares, you can do circles, hearts. You could do a bit more difficult probably, slightly. But anyway, so I'm using this size die. Then I just put that to one side. Then I've just got some pads. I have been told, I don't know how true this is, that when you have a pad, all the colour schemes, this is actually where I now got my idea from, actually, for doing this card, these hexagons. So, okay, lots of different papers in there. I'm actually using my small Sizzix Sidekick, which is great for doing, you always just need to check it will fit, which it will just. Okay, so anything this size or smaller, these are very handy for just doing lots of little things. You can obviously get, if you've got the bigger die set, but the die machine, you can do, but that's just sort of, putting one thing through every time just seems, well, it's a bit harder, isn't it, to be fair. Anyway, so choose your papers. I just needed to cut it down a little bit. I think all the colours sort of go together. Just trying to think which colours I used. I actually used out of this one. Keep all your bits and pieces. Might just do, because they should all go together anyway. So with a cutting, quite nice thickness this one actually. I just now got this recently from the works, £2, 16 sheets. But that's 250 grams GSMs, so that's the thickness of the card. Now I just need to make sure I can cut this out for size. So there we go. Okay, that should fit on there. Oh, it's a little bit. That's a little, maybe it's just a little bit wide. Let's just cut that down just a little bit more. But the little strip, do not waste it, because that will go in the strips jar. I've got a jar for Christmassy stuff, which keep any of your strips like this in there, because I'll be showing you other things to make with those. So have a strips jar if you haven't already. Right, I've actually cut quite a few of these out already, but I just want to sort of show you initially what I was doing. So that goes on there. Literally, this goes on here. I would try and now line that up so you've got like this sort of Christmassy. I will always put another piece of, this is just literally cereal boxes, tea bags, bits of card. Keep them, because that just gives like an extra shim. Through it goes. Often I will put it back again. Okay, I'm going to do a couple of these just in case I actually want to incorporate them into the card. So, because it's near to the edge, I suppose this is almost nearly too big a die for this little machine, really. But that's, I would say it's on the border of that. But anyway, there's one. Let's just do another one. Probably what it is, it's not cutting, because the piece of cardboard that I'm putting on there is just slightly smaller than the actual die, isn't it? So that's probably why it isn't cutting out quite as well at the edge. Anyway, put that to the side. So there should be another one here. Yeah, it's done exactly the same there. So it's just pushing its luck a little bit on the size of the die for the machine. Bless it. There we go. Right, it's a couple of those. So I can put this out the way now. I've actually done some more, just so these videos aren't too long. Okay, so these will all sort of coordinate. Piece of card, my regular card. I do like this with that lovely texture to it, but use any card, any size. Remember, any shape die you want, bigger ones, smaller ones. But then what we're going to do, remember to have it so it's going to open, or unless you want it that way, remember to set that up. And then literally we're going to be putting these on here. I'm just going to lay them where I want them to go to start with, just so they're up the right way. Can literally put it with a little bit of a border. Okay, so what's we got? One there, one there, maybe one there. We could use some of the little edges. I'll probably take this one out of there, okay, because that, I think, is where I'm going to put my sentiment, the Christmas sentiment. So where are we for colours? Let's have maybe another one of those there. I'll probably end up forgetting where these are. Do you know what? Just a tip. It is worth taking a picture of how you... No, I wouldn't want it that way because it's upside down to the side. Look, take a... Oh, it's going to be like that way, whatever. Okay, maybe I can get away with on the side like there. It's worth taking a picture of where you put them, possibly. Okay, so with this... I'm going to leave, I've done a couple of white ones because I'm going to put the sentiment on that. I might actually, before I stick them, because they'll be drying, the sentiment I'm going to use is literally the one I used the other day, but I've just now put it somewhere in such a nice little safe place. I don't know what I've done with it. Oh, here it is. I am going to do this one sometime. Anyway, so let's just have a Merry Christmas. So line it up. On your little board. It is worth popping. I mean, these cards have just come straight out of... I don't know whether I want to actually to the side a little bit, because it could sort of be there or there. Well, let's for the sake of this card, let's put it sort of right in the middle. Worth leaving a little pencil mark maybe, so you get it, so it is nicely in the middle. Now pop that on there, and this VersaFine pigment ink for fine detail, Onyx Black, I think is the best on the market. Okay, so print it, load it up. The more you use your stamps, the better they get. So this is going on to one of these, but I shall do a couple. Okay, and I shall put another one on there. Okay, then put that to one side. Pop your lid on so it don't dry out. It's always worth having some baby wipes around in case you get ink on your card, because that is most definitely a tip. I would do things in stages. If I was now going to do a load of cards, I would possibly be doing all this like stamp embossing in one go and then put them to one side, because it's nothing worse than managing to do your cards and then muck it up at the last minute. But never bin your card, because sometimes it can be salvaged anyway. Here I've now got a heat tool. If you were to now emboss these where you've printed whatever your sentiment is, you can then, if you then put the powder on, which is clear embossing powder, I just put it in a big container so it's nice and easy to use. That's the Wow one. And As long as you put the embossing powder on them, you can then sit them to one side and then heat seal them all in one go. So I'm going to just turn this on a little bit noisy for a second. The magic bit. Here we go. Needs to warm up just a little bit really first. Just put it nice and evenly, preferably to a bit of an angle. I actually did a bit heavier on the Have a Very Merry Christmas, and Christmas isn't quite as heavy. But that stamp in particular is one I got free with that in the magazine, so sometimes they're not quite as good as the ones you buy. Have a peg or something. It does get pretty hot. It's absolute magic, isn't it? That never ceases to amaze me how lovely it is to watch this when... And can you sort of see how it's given a lovely sheen? So I should put them both to one side. The only thing is, actually, can you see they are a bit heavier there than the Christmas, but that's obviously how that actual stamp has been made. So put them to one side. Now, putting it in the right place, it's literally putting the card together. I was thinking I was actually going to put this higher, so with a couple of those pads. So what I'm going to do to start with, do you know what, I might just do this, so bit of a just make sure you don't get two together. I wonder if one of these, hang on. Yeah, not too bad. There we go. So now I'm just going to stick them down. Big glue. It's enough glue, but not too much. I'm conscious that some of these be hanging off the card, which if you're then going to use them again, great. But if they're not going to be used, it's a shame, because it will actually have obviously you can do these all different angles, whatever you could use those sticky specs that I was using on a previous, whatever suits you. Now, for time purposes, it's almost like quilting, isn't it? I would put something heavy on it and leave it for a while, just so it sticks well. Then with this one that's going to be in the middle, I would put some, these are those little foam, and that one, if I turn it over, it should be nice and dry now anyway. Foam sticky pads, which then allows it to pop up just a little bit. Put enough on, because there's nothing worse than if it comes off, is it? A couple more. Make sure they're nice and again, I Obviously you need to make sure your card is up the right way. Take the pad, the edges off. This is why with some of these I try and do them a little bit sort of sorted up front. So then that we want nicely in the middle. Let's just rose that up a little bit, okay? Just remember these need to now that is rose up a little bit. You could even put a couple more underneath there. So now with this, if you then turn the card over, unfortunately I've got glue on some of these, and these long scissors are the absolute best. Cut them off. If I hadn't got glue on them, I'd be tempted to say save them, because you can then put them somewhere else. Turn it round. Okay, I've made it so I put these just round. Now where these are, you could, oh, it's going to be two of the same ones together. Have I got anything else that's not? That one there. Oh, please let me have another one that's around. That's not big enough. None of these are big enough. But I suppose I could literally just take a piece of this one. Bit of glue again. And here we have another card. But remember, I've done it in these hexagons, 50p piece shapes. Try and make sure, you know, I've got a little bit more of a gap there, but the gap is in, so it all look in the right places. That one's there. Did I stick it? I can't remember. Yes, I think I might have done. That can go there. So again, you would turn the card over, get rid of the extra. That then want to stick there. Because you see, this is why I do say, if you can, leave them to settle for a bit when you stick them down. That just needs to be cut off there again. I think it's because it's slightly wet. It's going to be harder to. Move it on to one side. Keep those because they'll come in for another card. And here we have another card. Hope you enjoy. See you tomorrow.